Good evening, Sim Racing World, and welcome back to week 2 of season 2 Sim Racing TV, where tonight we are bringing to you our NASCAR Trucks hosted at the Circuit of Americas. And isn't this going to be a race to behold tonight, Scott?
Yeah, look, I mean, this is a tricky one. This right here is one of the best. This is one of the best circuits to go to in the US of A. And to be perfectly honest with you, it's also one of the trickiest circuits to go through in the US of A. A Formula One styled circuit designed by Herman Tilke for Formula One styled cars, GT styled cars. And we're taking these things here that have a fixed rear differential to go race around that. Oh man, these cars are going to hate it, which means we're going to love it here in the broadcast booth.
Oh, mate, I think it might get turned into a bit of a drift track here and there, and they might forget that they've got to pedal off a little bit instead of keep the foot to the floor, and it's also going to be interesting to see how they turn right. Not only just left, but they do have to turn right tonight.
Yeah, that's it. Look, last week we come out of Charlotte, and Charlotte is considered by and large the starting point in terms of where you start your career on iRacing within an oval driving mindset. It's the basic box standard track. Now this week we go to probably one of the toughest tracks on the American schedule, and that is COTA. You've got the uphill here. You can see Dylan DeBono's just come out of pit lane. I think he's going to take a slow warm-up lap here to try and set his tires. He's probably going to cycle through and practice a stint here. You come down the hill. Trucks, these things, they don't like all this pitching and rolling. They've got fixed rear axles, fixed suspensions. They don't want to bobble all around all the time. Transferring weight, nah, these things are big, they're heavy, they don't want to squat down nicely. Think about a V8 supercar, but take away the grip.
And also, they'd probably be a lot lighter in the rear end, correct?
I wouldn't say necessarily lighter in the rear end, but that's how they feel.
That's that lock diff there. Oh, mate, I am looking forward to some awesome racing tonight. We had some interesting turn of events in our first race with rookies coming through in the top 3. So do you think we should be keeping an eye on the same people again, or should we look at the more experienced drivers tonight?
Look, tonight's a road course. Within a NASCAR sort of style of league, generally you're going to have what they call the road course ringers. These are the guys who sort of go, these guys probably aren't going to win many of the oval-based races, but NASCAR over the last few years is slowly trending towards running more and more of these circuit-style races. That's trending to bring in new, different kinds of drivers with different skill sets. It takes a massively different skill set to turn left, throttle manage, all of these other things than it is to set up, turn left, turn right, transfer the balance around. So yeah, it's going to be a different driver than you would normally see. However, it's probably some of the same names that are actually going to start transitioning their way to the front.
It's good to see that we got a good mix of the rookies and also the very experienced drivers. And it's also great to see that the rookies really keeping those experienced drivers on their toes.
Yeah, look, I mean, if you cast your mind back to last week, you got to remember Dano Harris comes away with the win. Who thought we'd ever say that in the history of a sim racing world? Well, season number 1, race number 1 of the NASCAR Truck Series. It's happened bang straight off the bat. Then you had Paul Bryan. He was prepared, put a lot of time and effort, a lot of practice work in to try and get himself through. Peter Morris, the guy that was just on screen, he put a lot of practice effort in too. He was involved in that big caution. He was the guy that got punted. He got sent for a field goal right in the middle of the race in that, I think it was second or third caution of the race. And he was practicing. He set himself up. He was trying to get himself towards the front. So, look, I mean, that's part and parcel of a NASCAR race. There is going to be big ones throughout this series. If you have to dodge them, you have to stay consistent. You're going to have to take a few zeros. You're going to have to take a few donuts in terms of that point column. And sometimes you just got to know, I don't want to fight this one. I've got a championship to look after. That's critical here, more so than in any other series.
Yeah, it's going to come down, as you said, it's going to come down to the points. If you have to take a 4th or a 5th to keep yourself in the championship lead instead of pushing too hard and possibly crashing out at the end, you know, it's all going to become tactical. Where the points are on the board, the guys have got to take what they can get.
Look, to be perfectly honest, a lot of people take a look at NASCAR and they go, look, it's simple. It's the simplest form of driving, right? And that's what we've already talked about. But to me, it's actually the most complex form of driving, because in terms of strategy, NASCAR has a lot more permutations than, say, a V8 supercar race. Normally, we saw last night, in terms of the V8 supercars, there was the 2-stop strategy and there was the 3-stop strategy. That was about it. Now, here at COTA tonight, you're going to see something similar, but every single week, you're going to see different strategies. Cautions are going to matter. COTA, very wide, lots of runoff area. Caution should not happen. That's not saying caution won't happen, just the caution should not happen.
Well, definitely after last week with the exhilarating crashes that we had. We had two fantastic ones where two cars ended up sky high. I'm not really expecting to see any sort of, high range crashes like that tonight. I do expect to see maybe a bit of loose ending and sliding off the track and accidentally taking people out.
I've seen a whole host of drivers. I was actually on board with Miles Burgess in the earliest phases of the practice, and he was just practicing his drifting, make sure he could keep the car under control in that slide. So he was practicing his soaring on the wheel, I guess we'll say it. Earlier in the practice session, you got Grant Matterford there on screen. Reasonable time at 2:20.425. That's the practice time. These guys are going to settle themselves down now. They've got one quick lap, and then we'll start to get into race mode. And race mode, compared to qualifying mode at a road course, it's completely different. And again, this is a new set of circumstances for these guys. They all go, yeah, these trucks, circuit racing. I know that combination. I know how to drive these sorts of circumstances. No. You've never seen anything like these guys. Are you prepared for 2, 3, 4 seconds worth of tire fall off over the course of a run? You don't get that in the V8s.
No, that's true. These guys are going to tear through those tires so quick on this track. Being, as you said, lock diff. This is not what these trucks are meant to be racing around. So it'll be very interesting to see how fast their times drop off, and then as well how they keep the pace with each other.
Look at the 0-3 right there, trying to make the dive bomb go through on Paul O'Brien. Remember, this is P2 in the championship for Paul, so he's out here again, just looking to have a solid night. Reasonable lap time from him at 2:17.8, so that's a really, really good start for him. And the 0-3 machine, I mean, Dylan DeBono as well. These guys are quite close to each other, only 2:10 separating them on the timers chart. That's a good thing to know. We talked last week, these cars don't have great brakes. They don't pull up quickly. So you're going to see them actually brake, I think, on the back stretch about the 200, 250 meter board. Whereas normally in a GT car, you're going to be doing about, say, 50 to 60 kilometers an hour and going deeper than they are. It's because they don't have brakes on them. They don't have great downforce, and they're big old heavy things. So they're going to wiggle around a whole bunch. You can't downshift aggressively. You can't really use a whole bunch of engine braking. And you see Rick Jones has just barely missed his braking marker, and he nudges Daniel Harris. You're going to see a lot of that. That's just a mistake. They are so different.
Definitely, I'd like to see if any guys have got a handbrake set up tonight to see if they can quickly rip one of those into a corner. Lose a bit of control. Quick, pull the handbrake. That'll pull me straight back into line.
You haven't settled down from Friday night, have you, Shibi?
Oh, mate, we had an absolute pearler Friday night. If you guys missed it, we ran our first V8 Super Show, and it was an absolute wicked show. We had our Super 2s and Super 1s run all in the one show.
That wasn't Friday night. I'm thinking Rallycross, brother. That's where the handbrake is on.
Sorry, Sunday. I'm 4 days ahead of myself right now.
Mate, you're just trying to look after us and like promote all the series at one moment.
Oh, mate, with the amount of series that we've got on and the work that's going behind them all, mate, it's very easy for for myself and some of the admin team to get lost with what's actually happening. So, yes, Friday night was the Rallycross. Beautiful sideways action. That was a blast to watch. And that is a free and open season that anybody joined up with Sim Racing World TV can come and race for absolutely free.
That's it. And I mean, I can tell you from my own personal experiences, I am going to have to start practicing. It was that much fun, and people were bumping and grinding, making mistakes, transitioning car weight, rotating the cars. Hopefully, there's going to be a few guys in the field tonight that took some of those skills with them out of the Friday night race. We've got Nathan Allen, who was there, Lachlan Capel, I believe John McHenry's in the field as well. Whole bunch of guys, so...
That's correct, mate. Yeah, we've got a lot of guys that race across all different series. So we are running, we are at 6 series this season. Across the week, we have 6 different series. So if you guys want to go check it out, hit up simracingworld.com.au or find us on Facebook at SRWTV. Come join the Sim Racing family and get involved with anything we do. We'd love to have you on board.
Yeah, I think entries for the Sim Racing World Truck Series have now closed, I believe, as well as the V8 Supercars and the Porsche Cups. There's a couple series that are closed off. But some of the best racing you can actually have is in the Radicals, and the better part about that as well is they're actually one of the entry-level series for iRacing. You got a couple cars that sort of predate it, the MX-5 and the Legends Coupe. Man, those things are a whole handful, whole bunch of fun, and they're designed for ovals as well. But then you step up onto your D-Class series, and the Radicals is one of those. They're motorcycle-styled engines. You've got, I believe, 2 Hayabusa 1000cc engines slapped side by side, and a motorcycle gearbox, and it literally sounds like that. No weight in the car, just rotates all over the place on cold tires, fixed setups for the first time this season as well. So all you gotta do is you just show up and you race, and that's it. And I can tell you, the Radicals are probably where I started getting a real taste of the sim. The MX-5s are kind of fun, but not quite enough power. The Radicals have got some power to them.
Oh, mate, honestly, I was meant to race in the Radicals this season. I got to do a lot of practice runs with the boys last season before our productions, and I had an absolute blast learning to drive them, and they are so much fun. Having, the 2 Hayabusa engines strapped together as like a V8 style motorbike engine. The acceleration in these things are just, great fun.
And from a standing start as well, like that's the big thing. No cover over the top of you, so it's a really sort of just raw experience. I love watching videos of the Radicals in real life as well. It's such a cool, cheap entry level series in real life, so it translates quite well. Anyway, back to the on-screen discussion. Have a look at some of the guys and what they're actually doing. They're actually running a really slow outlap here. Why are they doing that? It's all about tire temperature and tire degradation in the NASCAR Truck Series. And, well, nothing degrades a tire anymore than trying to shift that weight around, trying to rotate the car. Normally, you've got a whole bunch of downforce sort of pinning the car down. The car just passively rotates really nicely through long banked corners. Yeah, it might be a whole bunch faster, but they're designed to do that sort of stuff. The worst possible thing you can do is heat up your tires on your outlap. By the time you get back to the start finish, you've already maybe lost a second worth of lap time. That's not going to qualify you up the grid. Qualifying here tonight is going to be so important. How many cars we got here tonight, Nathan?
Mate, we are up to 25.
26 I've got.
26,
yeah, so that's
26.
So down a couple cars from last week's 30. Notable missing, I believe, is Brad Clank, who did not have a great run last time out. Maybe be a little bit busy this week. Brad Clank is a notable road racing driver, so it's kind of a big omission to have him out of the season. Keep your eyes on Jeremy Bush here. Looks like he's got underway through a nice lap here. You're going to notice a critical thing for a couple of these drivers as well. They short shift in one of the places. One of them is that downhill right-hander they've just gone through. Nice and easy on the power through the S's here. Down a second in this left-hander. Then you'll cut back to the right here. You've got 2 options. You can either keep it nice and close to this curb. That's what Jeremy's done there. You can swing out and then swing back in a little bit. You gain a little bit of time here, but you lose a little bit of time on that corner. Try and keep it tight through the left-hander here, and then the up-hand right-hander here. Take a little bit of curb, not too much. You get an incident point there on the right-hand side. That's lap over. It looks like Jeremy's managed to get through that one. A short shift to 3rd gear. Car doesn't like that little transition downhill on the hop there. Fixed rear differential. You get a tire off the ground. The right-hand tire wants to spin. Break it nicely. Pull it up into the hairpin. Now you've got to get the power down. But the wheels, they just want to spin. There's so much torque going through that rear axle. Get the power down. On the straight. 2nd, 3rd, 4th gear. Now this is where this car is really designed to be. Going fast, going in a straight line most of the lap. Uh-oh, I've got tiny brakes on this thing. I've got to pull it up for this next corner. It's a 1st gear corner. Going back from about 180 mile an hour all the way back down to 1st gear, about 60 mile an hour, actually probably a little bit less than 60 miles an hour to get into the left-hand kink there. This one's a tricky one. Leave it in 1st, leave it in 2nd. You want to leave it in 2nd all the way in, carry a little bit more speed. Then back to 1st, so you get the drive out. Short shift to 2nd there from Jeremy. Back to 1st early. He's going to lock up the rear wheels. He's going to be really sketchy. He pushes deep, straight in the braking there. Doesn't carry as much entry speed. Doesn't rotate the car as quickly. That's actually a small mistake in terms of Jeremy's lines. Hug the corners tight here. Short shift to 3rd. He leaves it in 2nd. So he's looking for drive here through the right-hander. 3rd allows the car to rotate a little bit better. Down to 2nd. Touch this little bit of yellow sausage curb on the left. You can stick 1 tire over that. It's fine. Cannot touch the green curbing on the right on a qualifying lap. Then you'll come back down to the left here, touch the yellow curbing on the inside, 1st gear, again, squeeze the power back on. It's like you're standing on sponges. You've got to be very careful with how you put your weight down back across the line, and that's a 2:21. So a slow lap for Jeremy, but that's going to be, you're not going to get 2 quick laps out of this car. If he's going to do another fast lap, it'd probably be about a 22 or a 23. So this will just be another set of practice for him.
Mate, that was we got some boys starting to push some quick times, and as you said, this is straight after their outlap, mate. They have just gone out there, as you said, not worn their tyres off, and then pushed really hard through that one lap to get that quick qualifier in. Lockie Capel with a 2:16, Daniel Harris with a 2:16.
So the times are quick very, very early on, and Capel's gone with a 2:16. I believe 2:16.308, so 2:16.270 for Daniel, and Daniel's now jumped into the commentary box. So his lap's done. Dano, we talked a little bit about the setup. You've only got one lap on these tyres, and it's that second lap. It's just practice. It's practice for that second lap of the race. Dano? Well, we thought we had a driver here to talk to after his qualifying run. Turns out it's exactly the opposite. It's just you and me in the commentary box. Can you hear the lonely gusts of wind just blowing through?
I think I heard a little squeak there. He might have said something.
I think a mouse just ran underneath his sim.
I think he might have, and he's got up and run off then.
Anyway, so that's it. Look, I mean, times are starting to come through. There's a few drivers who haven't set times. So let's talk up and down the field. Adam Hughes, very, very competent Porsche driver. Lachlan Capel, the driver that you just had on screen there, now we'll flip across to Adam. So Adam's got the number 1 on his car. He won the Porsche Cup Championship last time out. You'd know this guy if you were watching Thursday night broadcasts. He is quick, but not the quickest of the quick, because it's a different set of driving circumstances, different set of skills and those sorts of things. So a different adjustment, different way of driving the car. He's close, not quite there, but he's got to learn a couple of things. He's nearly a second off the pole time.
Just shows that guys that drive, you know, as a bit of an alien in a different class, like Adam Hughes is quick. He is very quick in those Porsche, and then you can see that big difference is getting thrown into something just like a truck that is nothing like a Porsche, that they just drop off that little bit than what they probably think they should be a little bit quicker, but they just haven't got a handle of these beasts just yet.
Well, Adam Hughes proves me wrong, goes quicker on the second lap, gets into the 16. So he clearly made a mistake somewhere on his first lap, and the second one manages to iron that out. So he moves up a spot.
All right.
I'm interested to have a look through the field too, because there's a few guys who haven't set times. I'm wondering whether or not they've taken an off track. Nathan Allen's one of those guys. Skulls has actually set a lap, so he's already done with his qualifying session. Luke Georgeson hasn't set a lap at this point in time. So it could be that these guys have taken off tracks and then they've reset to the pits to get that fresh set of tires, or they're just not going to qualify. I can see Evan Horsfield's actually out on track at the moment. Hayden Norris is out on track at the moment. I can tell you Evan Horsfield picked up an off track, so his first qualifying lap was actually deleted for track limits. But that brings up an... do you know about the rules for tonight?
We are looking at a road racing rule set, correct?
Correct. So, but it's a little bit different. When NASCAR comes to these circuit racing things, they generally play with the rules and mess with them. Why? These cars aren't made to turn quite as tight as a GT car, so track limits to them are a little bit different to maybe what they're sort of used to. So what happens is they actually remove track limits in a lot of places. Now, iRacing has a little bit of a limitation within that. What iRacing will allow us to do is, say, set an incident point limit of 0. So what that means is that there is no incident point limit. These guys can use the off-track spaces as often as they like. They can rub with other cars. They won't get a penalty for any of that, except for if our in-race admin, who I believe is Jaden Darling tonight, he's got us covered for that from 24/7 Sim Services. So they've got us covered in sort of that format. But basically, you're going to see these cars breaching track limits, and that's fine. So pretty much F1 from 2021, yeah?
Sounds good. Sounds good. All right, I zoned out a little bit there, just looking through the tables to see who hadn't and hadn't run laps there, mate. Just trying to keep an eye on the field to see what's happening. How long of quali have we got tonight?
We've got actually 15 minutes, and we're 10 minutes through that at the moment. So we've got 5 minutes left. A few guys still trying to set laps. We've got Joseph Daly hopping into the session. Callan Hodgkinson as well hasn't actually set a lap. Had some issues. He's had to jump out, jump back in. So a few drivers sort of slowly trickling in. We're up to 27 entries tonight. It's only 3 shy last week, so good fields. That's what I wanted to see.
Oh, mate, the NASCAR Trucks have definitely brought in a lot of drivers for us this season. I think it was a Fantastic little brainchild of yours to bring the trucks in, mate, and get some NASCAR happening, because honestly, when we get back to those oval tracks, it is super exciting. So, super excited again tonight, though, to see how they go around a road track.
So, critical tonight, these cars have 75% limitation on their fuel. Callum Hodgkinson, so he's added the handbrake in. That's what I just saw from that shot.
Oh, yeah, that was definitely handbrake.
No, so that's actually a downshift. So he's locked the rear axle with the compression locking, and that's why you're seeing that happen. What you have to do with these cars is you basically, all the way through the braking zone, you'll stay in second gear when it's to first gear. You get back to first gear just before you get on the car. Why? It unsettles the rear of the car. You get what's called wheel hop, which is where the tires find grip, find too much grip, back off again. And they bounce at that moment. It's the suspension releasing, and then the suspension will recompress, the tire will grab grip, grab too much grip, bounce again. And it's sort of it's kind of like porpoising from Formula 1 cars, but just in rear tires instead of downforce.
Okay, I could see just then too, as he was getting on the accelerator and getting off the accelerator, you can actually see how high the front of the car lifts up. You can see the splitter touch right down to the road, and then it pulls right up when he backs off the accelerator.
Other way around.
The other way around, sorry. Yeah, I knew what I was talking about. It was right in my head, it just didn't come out the way I wanted it to.
Bit of Liz Dexia there for you to
Yeah,
start the
that's
stream,
the one tonight, Scott. It's been a big week for the first run of Season 2 Sim Racing World TV, and didn't get too much rest over the weekend, but here we are again for week 2, kicking it off with the NASCAR Trucks at Circuit of Americas. So.
And the best part is we just get to sit here and we get to cack ourselves laughing when anything hilarious happens out on track. Like,
oh, it's going to be definitely interesting. I've never really seen NASCAR-style cars run on a road track, so I'm keen. I'm counting down the minutes for that qualifying finish.
So, fun fact, when the NASCAR Cup Series first came to Circuit of the Americas, they actually had to use their rain tires for the first time since they were introduced to road courses in the recent past. I believe there was a previous era where they did actually use rain tires, but certainly within the latest generations, it was the first ever time they actually used the rain tires. They couldn't see a thing going down the back straight. Why? They actually don't have working windshield wipers most of the time because it's the first time they ever used them. So a lot of teams didn't even bother investing in good windshield cleaning sort of devices. They were having a lot of fogging up on the inside of the cars. The spray was getting in the inside of the cars. These cars actually don't have doors, so the only way in and out is to climb in and out the window. So they have to have the windows open the whole time.
Dukes of Hazzard style, right?
Yeah, that's
like
it.
Straight through and in you go. That'd be interesting too, because there's no sort of water diffusers on the back of these vehicles either. So the spray they would have been kicking up at each other would have been...
just goes nowhere.
Oh, it would have been insane.
Yeah. So pretty much what ended up happening during the worst of the rain and that Cup Series race is that Burgess is sort of 15.8.
That is correct.
Oh my word, that is quick. So yeah, the spray basically went nowhere. The drivers couldn't see. Somebody checked up about 3 cars ahead of one guy. Everyone else then sort of slowly braked, and by the time he got there, he just didn't have time to brake, ran straight up the rear end of somebody else because it just wasn't an option for him. So look, I mean, a little bit different. We don't have the iRacing rain update yet. Fingers crossed it comes with rain tires from the NASCARs, because I think that would be like driving on ice on ice.
Oh, it's going to be insane when they finally actually bring rain into the game. We already know that there's working wipers out there on a few cars, and there's also a setting where you can actually set up a button to turn them on and off. So it's definitely being worked on, and mate, it is going to make some of these series a lot more exciting when we start throwing in some wet tracks in there.
Mate, I mean, if Race Control had their hands full before...
Well, welcome to wet season, boys.
Final drivers completing their laps at this point in time. 5 seconds to the end of the session. I think it's going to be... No, so I think anyone that's on a lap will be allowed to complete that lap. At this point in time, it's just Joe Daly. No, it's the close and immediate close off of the session. So Joe didn't get to finish that lap. Well, what a qualifying time for Miles Burgess. Goes top of the charts with the 2:15.8 for the quickest cross racing driver. Starting off to his outside is Daniel Harris from the Sim Racing World TV team. Lachlan Capel off the second row of the grid, Pulse Racing team. Adam Hughes, Crisscross Esports, lockout 1 and 4, so car in both of the first rows. Then it's Riot Sim Racing lockout on row number 3. Moving back to row number 4, Dylan DeBono from Momentum Sim Sports and the first locked on racing car of Braden Martin. Look out for him with a strong finish last week in P4. Jake Edwards, another Crisscross Racing entry, so that makes 3 inside the top 10, followed by the first of the After Dark Sim Racing entries. Finally, Grant Matterford off of row number 6, I believe that is, with the second Pulse Racing team entry. Teammate to Lachlan Capel out of grid spot 3, and Paul R. Bryan is actually in one of the Man Up Sim Racing entries.
Right, mate, and leading up the rear here, we've got Riley Jones for Man Up Sim Racing, Leon Williams, Jeremy Bush, Glenn McLeod, Rick Jones, Barry Hodges, Peter Morris, Joe Daly, Nathan J. Allen, Daniel Weaver, George Minus, and Darren Parameter. And then, oh gosh, we got more. I've never had to move 3. Alan Hodgkinson, Evan Horswell, and Chris Thornton taking up the rear of the grid.
Well, time for these guys to get settled in. It's an hour worth of racing. Pit strategy is going to be critical. Tire conservation is going to be more important. As these tires go throughout the race, it's actually heat that you'll see out of these guys first. The tires will overheat. Big, heavy cars, lock differential, the rear ends are going to want to slide around. You've got to control that early. If you let the wheels slide on lap number 1, that translates to more sliding on lap 2, on lap 3, and it just keeps getting worse the whole way through the stint. So minimize it early. Are you going to go with a heavy front brake bias? Are you going to try and go, hey, look, I'm going to struggle with keeping the rears settled underneath braking, underneath the initial traction zone? I'm going to push the braking bias further forward. That's going to put a little bit more heat in the front tires. The front end of the car won't rotate as quickly then, but that's going to look after my rear tires a little bit more, keep a little bit of pace. There's a few different ways to attack it. Are you just going to save tires, completely shut the thing off, save some fuel? You're going to go after the pit strategy. Nathan, round number 2 of the trucks. Strategy's all up in the air. Who knows what's going to happen?
What's going to happen is I'm not going to use that camera for the moment. I was trying to find a nice overshot view so we can get the whole field in shot.
Fun fact about this race as well, normally NASCAR drivers get a single spotter for most of the oval circuits, because that spotter stands up in a spotter tower in the middle of the track. A spotter here for COTA, that only covers about a third of the track. You need 3 spotters to cover the entire track. When the NASCAR Cup Series comes here, they have to start their teamwork very, very early in the practice sessions, because it's the first time they've worked together as a trio of spotters. That was a lot of chaos in the race that was earlier there this year.
That definitely would have been interesting. So essentially you've thrown 3 different spotters in, and
only one of them the drivers ever worked with before.
Interesting.
So the other 2 are just pick-me-ups. Now we're going to come into the last corner. This is tricky as well here. You can run it all the way out to the right-hand side onto that green curving, but if you roll slightly off of that, you're going to pick up a slowdown. That's going to be a critical factor. The S's are a critical factor. Turn 1, you can go 5 wide into. It's going to be a chaos here tonight. This is the opening lap.
The sound of these things as we follow them in this beautiful chopper view sounds absolutely amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's green, green, green. Time to go racing, boys, on the run down to turn number 1. Of course, it's Burgess on the inside. Harris got a really good launch off of row number 2, though. It's Adam Hughes who did not get going quite all that well. Cable, big sand to the inside. Gets checked up a little bit there by Burgess. Round the outside for Harris. Tries to pick up the throttle. The number 20 machine of Hayden Norris is up quite a few spots. He's looking for 3 spots on the start on the inside of Cable. Cable will have the inside run of the next corner. That Skulls you see on your screen at the moment, he's side by side with Dylan DeBono, who backs out. It's single file finally when they get to the S's for the first time, but excitement aplenty. Hughes, DeBono going backwards, Hayden Norris goes forwards. And now Hughes wide coming out of the S's as well, up the hill for the first time. Norris is all up and under the rear bumper of Lachlan Capel. He wants to set his eyes forward. He's nearly as fast as the cars that are actually ahead of him. And all of a sudden, DeBono's all over Adam Hughes. Hughes might be holding him up a little bit. Hughes might be trying to save some tire. Big dive bomb for the 03. Locks a brake. Gets over-undered by Adam Hughes. Hughes saw it coming, and now is sitting in on the straight. Remember, these cars are designed for drafting. The 84 machines there in the background of Glenn McLeod. Remember the run that he had last week, surging onto the podium late with fresh tyres. He'll be looking to do the same once again. The 198 machine, Leon Williams. There's battles up and down the field already, Nathan.
Mate, this is exciting as it's so much to focus on, and all I want to do is sit here and enjoy the race, but here we are.
Deep into the hairpin at the end of the back straight for the first time as Leon Williams. Chris Thornton off the rear row of the grid has made a whole bunch of spots on the opening couple of laps. It's going to be on the outside right there of the 28 machine of Callan Hodgkinson's trying to do what he can, and he does get around the outside of Chris Thornton. Still up the inside there of the 83 machine as well. Still racing, a nudge from the rear end of Chris Thornton's car. He'll spin it around. Don't spin the tyres too much, trying to get that thing back on the track and still look forward. Braden Martin is under threat there of the 11 machine of Jake Edwards. Edwards is having a really strong showing here tonight.
Three wide. What are these guys doing going 3 wide into corners in the trucks?
And Matthew Scholes has gotten involved in an accident on lap number 1. That's why he's a mile and a half back there. Now he's starting to find his way through. He sends it 3 wide. Got to take risks when you're starting from the rear end of the field. Another car spinning out of the last corner.
Barry Hodges that just took a dive into the wall there at the back.
I think he kept it out of the wall. You know, he might be fine.
Might be able to get a quick look at that once the racing settles down, but at this race, it doesn't look like it's going to.
In the early phases, Miles Burgess has absolutely started to set a clean pair of heels out in front. At this point in time, though, Daniel Harris is struggling, and P number 2 is Capel has started to close that margin down, and Aiden Norris is going with him. Hughes now starting to close in as well, and in 6th position, De Bono runs a fair bit wide there. So now they'll head down into the hairpin. This is going to be a huge fight. Capel looks to go wide, opens the corner up. He'll get back to the power nice and early. A whole bunch of cars trying to get a run now. And remember, these are draft design cars, so they will hunker down in a slipstream. Capel now a long way back off the pack, and here comes the send from Aiden Norris. Not quite there. He's happy to settle in behind him. In the background, De Bono's not quite going with this lead pack, and Capel's under threat. He's having to defend into the tight right-handers for the second time. Norris tries to get on the power aggressively, slides those rear tyres. They're going to be screaming in a lap and a half.
That's right, and this is where that tyre drop-off, as you were talking about through qualifying, is going to really start showing its ugly head as these guys start pushing each other harder and harder.
Yeah, it's a tricky thing. It's not easy to manage. The guys that come across from V8 supercars will have a small advantage because they are similar in styling and the way that they drive, but not quite. Car off at the back. Leon Williams was struggling early, trying to keep the car underneath him. It'd be interesting to see if he got a nudge or not. Car looks okay, so no damage there. Great spot by the producer. Nathan, you've got 2 hats on here tonight, doing a fantastic job, I think.
I'm trying to do
this will tell the story.
I can.
That's Peter Morris in the background there. So the 198 down the inside. Skulls, it looks like, is centered on him. He'll try and pull it up into this next corner. He might go a little bit too shallow, too deep. Tries to downshift, and the rear end of the car just rotates around on him.
Which is exactly what we said we were probably going to see a lot of. These guys, as you said, down gear, downshifting hard.
Thornton! I wanted to see more of that. Chris Thornton trying to pick up the throttle in the black 34 car there. All over it is a huge battle pack at the tail end of this thing. Peter Morris now under the assault. Someone trying to send it down the inside of him. We'll see if he can hang on to the place. The 69 machine of George Midas trying to send it on Callan Hodgkinson. Hodgkinson to hold it around the outside. So it's not just at the front the battle packs are forming, it's up and down the field as well.
Oh man, it's exciting from start to finish so far. These guys are putting on an absolute awesome show. And keep in mind, people out there, a big bunch of this pack, our racers in the NASCAR series, have never driven these cars until now.
Yeah, never driven these cars until now on a road circuit too. So Adam Hughes has lost a spot to Dylan De Bono. De Bono's trying to get aggressive. We did see him burn off a little bit too much fuel last night in the Super 2 format. Run out of fuel as the race was running out. I did get to catch up with him. He did confirm that it was fuel that was the issue late in the Super 2 race last night. Nathan Allen's had an incident. Car backwards. That looks like Chris Thornton once again. He is struggling on those rear tyres. He's not having fun. I mean, he started from the rear of the field. He's nearly back to the rear of the field now, but it's tricky. Callan Hodgkinson and George Minus, keep your eyes on those boys right throughout the race, because that one looks like it's going to be side by side from lights out to lights checkered flag, I think.
Oh, definitely, mate. There is some great little battle packs starting to build all across the field. The only person really, Miles Burgess, is still, he's nearly pushed that gap to 5 seconds off second place, which is Daniel Harris right now.
But is he pushing too hard? Yeah, I mean, is he pushing too hard? Capel knows how to look after these tyres. This is not Capel's first rodeo. He loves these NASCAR trucks. He loves to get out there, and the Century Batteries blue machine looking very good. Daniel Harris, that's your winner from last week, so we'll see if he can settle in and keep that points lead will be his goal, because nobody else within stone's throw or cooey of him that was certainly in that top 3 last week.
Right, and we've got a 10-round series in the trucks, don't we?
That's it. This is the one and only circuit race format that we'll be doing. There is a dirt oval round to come. Next week is our one and only short track too from Legacy Phoenix. Ultimately, rookie level, entry level style series. Oh, Allen's in the weeds once again, trying to get that thing flicked back around. Will he make it back down pit lane? He's looking for a clear spot in traffic. Yeah, well, if you're going to be a race controller, you need to make sure that you put your best driving talents on display and be courteous to others. Nathan, race controller that works for 24/7 Sim Services, drives for the Men Up Racing team as well. This might tell a little bit of the story as the 2 machine off the track that's nice and wide, so he'll get a slowdown penalty for being that far outside the circuit.
So this was Daniel Weaver. I'm not sure why his name is not showing up, but it did say he's come up with a crash.
Ah, there we go.
Oh, there it is. Pushed it too hard into the corner.
It looks like a downshift whilst the car's still moving way too quickly as rear diff lock. And this will tell the story between Nathan Allen and George Minus. Allen will probably try and send it down the inside here. Oh, I just saw on my screen as well, we've had a huge accident involving the lead pack as well. The second place grouping, Capel's ended up biffed, battered, and bruised, and it looks like Daniel Harris may be the guy that was dealing the punishment. So Capel gets sideways, trying to get it on the power. This is coming off the back straight. That was the hairpin at the tail end of the back straight. Tries to get down, slowed it down, turns it in. Harris is on the inside. Harris trying to go for the apex. Bounces off the curb, moves across and just a little bit wide. A little bit unfortunate. Gets airborne too with a little bit of help from Aiden Norris there as well. So that'll settle that pack back down. Capel might look to go for the undercut here and get some fresh pair of boots on, because if he's struggling from damage, that will hold him back.
Yeah, definitely. That was a bit of an unlucky cut across the corner there with the nice T-bone into the side of Lucky Capel. So probably going to be kicking himself a little bit there.
And race control's just come on the broadcast and said that he's got to redress the position back to Lachlan Capel. That seems an appropriate penalty for that instance, I think, as well. Let's let him race, which would happen in the NASCAR world. It's, look after each other. NASCAR tends to not put their hand up and dive right in and issue penalties unless they absolutely have to. Righto, remember, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to race. Lap times are already out over, I believe, the 2:20 marker. Gonna have to have a quick look at Miles Burgess, though. Still running in the 17s, so he is running very quick.
He's still got that 5. He's got a
10-second
margin now. Oh, he's a bit of an off track there, though.
Well, there's no track limits. He's certainly found where you can abuse them.
Yeah, but is that going to save his tyres, or is that going to help him wear them? We're only 10 minutes in, mate, and he is just pushing hard.
I mean, he's clearly got a strategy in the back of his mind. He knows what he's doing.
Let's
see if it pays off for him.
Find out what that strategy was.
Luke Georgeson from the After Dark Sim Racing trying to get a move done there, I believe, down the inside. Gets it done nice and cleanly in the 274 machine. Racing alongside the 45 machine of Jeremy Bush.
Get out, mate.
Spin just in front of them. Was that Riley Jones? I think it was Riley Jones.
Riley Jones had another spin. There's that the beloved drift trucks that I was saying that I think we're probably going to see quite a bit of.
I'll tell you what, the battle up at the back up the front. Yeah, I was just about to talk about it. So Capel had to get the position redressed from Daniel Harris. Harris struggling to get that power down. Check. Yeah, there we go. Critically, this is one of the tracks we want to be able to see into the corners. The corners here are very, very wide, and you need to see all the way around them, and Daniel Harris runs on a single monitor, a tiny little thing. His field of view is tiny on that monitor, so he will be struggling. He cannot see the apexes for all of these corners.
That's an interesting fact that people probably don't realise too, is that the setup that you're using, the field of view, if you think about how you're driving a real car, you can see out your side windows. So of course, if you're running off a single monitor, you're not going to have that field of view. You're not going to be able to see every bit of the track that you need to take.
And it's critical around here. I've run two 24-hour races on iRacing around the Circuit of the Americas circuit, both of them in multi-class format. We were lucky enough to walk away with a P3 in the prototype class in one of those. And the biggest thing was being able to spot where the other classes of cars were turning into the corners, particularly at night. You cannot see. All you can see of your headlights is just this little bead of light in your left-hand window. You cannot see the apex at all. So muscle memory is so critical. If there was ever one race I put a lot of practice in for, it was always COTA.
Looks like a pretty exciting track, man. I'm going to be interested to see what we got. The Porsche coming up here as well. So.
Adam Hughes just bowled a huge wide off the end of the back straight, and he's lost his position once again to Dylan DeBono. And I think that was just a braking marker miss or whatever he's done, but he's locked himself back in. DeBono's still leading this second pack. Capel trying to put some pressure all over the rear bumper of Aiden Norris. It was Norris applying the pressure to him early on. Jake Edwards still racing Braden Martin and Paul Martin. This is the battle to finish inside the top 10. Who's going to finish 8th? Who's going to finish 9th? Who's going to finish 10th? Who's going to go on to the undercut strategy, because that's going to be critical as well.
Yeah, definitely, man. We're only 13 minutes in, and these guys are still pushing hard. And we haven't seen a big drop-off in times. Like, compared to quali, they're slower, but they're still sitting very average times every lap. So it'd be interesting to see when their tyres actually start dropping off.
So just having a quick look at Burgess, he's falling off by about 3/10 a lap as Capel goes side by side with Norris. He's going to break it directly on course for that apex, sends it deep. Norris not on the preferred line, looks for the crisscross, tries to get the power down. These cars don't like doing that, of course. So Capel comes out the other side with a position, and he'll move back up onto 4th position. And now it's Hughes all over the rear bumper of DeBono. DeBono with a very strong-looking finish last night in the V8 Supercars. Didn't walk away with that one. The trucks will be his next focus. Hughes, where's he going to set the move up? Does he get that big draft? Remember, he locked a brake going into the hairpin at the end of the back straight last time by. And DeBono struggles on the power. Sideways coming off the slow section there. He's a little tight heading down the hill. Runs a long way out, does Adam Hughes. Trying to use all of the track limits, not quite close enough to send the move yet. He's prepping himself. Really good apex speed there for Adam Hughes. He'll set it at the back end of the straight. Now keep your eyes on Paul Bryan. Braden Martin's been overtaken here, and Daniel Harris is dropping like a rock. He's cooked his rears, and around he goes. No, he saves it. Braden Martin's going to try and slip up the inside. Jake Edwards is struggling for traction on the outside. They're all squabbling over who gets into whose draft. Paul Bryan senses an opportunity. There's blood in the water in this little pack, and the locked-on Labs racer is right in front of 2 cars side by side. Bryan goes to the inside. He'll have priority. Edwards bails out of the brakes a little bit early. Still going to try and hold position here. And Daniel Harris is struggling in front of these guys. He's running out of tyre. Now it's Edwards that'll get it done around the outsides. Not deep enough for Paul Bryan to get the move done. Edwards hung it around the outside, so he'll hang onto it for another lap. Oh, Harris! Harris has taken out Capel already by touching the curb, and now he'll nudge Braden Martin, and then goes Jake Edwards around. So Paul Bryan, the only one that gets through the combination straight, and he will walk away with the position, and he's up on to P number 7.
Adam Hughes has worked his way into second place now. He's got past Dylan DeBono again. Let's see if we can find that move.
Well, now it's Capel that's ranging up onto the back of these guys, because for all the struggles that Dylan DeBono's having, now Adam Hughes goes defensive. He's going to block it all the way up the inside. A late dip to the outside from Dylan DeBono, and Lachlan Capel senses an opportunity. Round the outside for DeBono. Hughes might hold him high and wide. Capel tries to get the power back down, tries to get it to the inside, won't quite get there this lap, but he closes on in. He'll now target the back straight to move his way back up onto the podium. And watch the way that these trucks rock and roll through the S's. The balance transfer, it does not want to turn, and then you get on the power and it really wants to turn. Back to the left now, Capel is closing, DeBono is struggling, and Adam Hughes is surging. Oh, DeBono with a lot of wheel spin coming off the corner once again. He's in trouble. Will it be at the hairpin here, or will it be at the end of the back straight? I think Capel's going to try and get the power down, because that seems to be where DeBono's struggling. Squares the corner off, gets the car straight. Look at him work the wheel. The car's still not straight. It's the end of second gear before you're still trying to find the throttle pedal all the way flat to the floor. He's a long way back now.
Like we had a couple of accidents as well. If you didn't notice, there was a car parked on the left-hand side as we were coming down that straight just then. I think it might have been Rick Jones.
Car in 26th position, it looks like. It actually might be Leon Williams. No, it's not. Leon Williams has grabbed a spot back there. It's not Rick Jones, I can tell you that much. Capel now having a look to the inside. DeBono trying to send it up the inside of Adam Hughes. Nearly ended up 3 wide, and DeBono's got a little bit of a run. Hughes will hold it tight here, trying to get this car back to the throttle. Capel is right there and just about got the bump and run done. All the way up on the curb right there for Dylan DeBono. Swings it wide, tries to get it tight here for the last couple of accommodations. Capel's going to look to get a whole bunch of drive coming onto the straight. I think he's got engine damage. He's not quite as fast as these guys in the straight, but he is under brakes. Oh, DeBono! Nearly out of control. All kinds of sideways. His tyres are cooked and done, and he just hands the position over to Capel. And now it's going to be Hughes defending from Capel as well. And look at the rest of the pack that's starting to close in whilst these guys fight for it. Every stretch of the way. Hayden Norris is there. Joe Daly is starting to come at them. Jake Edwards still going at it with Daniel Harris. So that has not settled itself down whatsoever.
Oh,
and now Harris makes a
huge
mistake. Pinches a couple brakes, and Jake Edwards snatches that one easily. Harris is, well, if he was struggling before, now he's trying to dig himself out of a bad situation. You got to dig up, Daniel. Dig up.
Dig faster, boy. What's time to say? Dig harder, boy. Dig harder.
And Adam continuing to defend for his life. Capel's there. DeBono's trying to shove it down the inside as well. He'll try and get back to the power. He's struggling. And in the background, those other two are fighting tooth and nail as well. Daly's finally got past Hayden Norris, and now Capel's still trying to fight for it with Adam Hughes. Remember, he's struggling a little bit for straight line horsepower. Got a little bit of damage in that contact earlier. And here comes DeBono. He'll cover to the inside, and DeBono will have to go the long way around. He might just get there. No. Capel shuts the door nicely, and Adam Hughes is continuing to just park this truck in awkward spaces. Now, Hughes runs it wide. Capel will send it to the inside. Glenn McLeod is going to finally try and make his way past Dylan Harris. These guys are P1 and P3 in the championship, and McLeod trying to get back to the power. Joe Daly and Hayden Norris are struggling as well.
Doesn't look too much like they're struggling to me, mates. From my point of view, they're doing a fantastic job of throwing these trucks around Coda tonight. Well, we're now 20 minutes into the race, and we're coming up quite quickly on the pit window. For those guys who might be thinking about a two-stop strategy, that pit window is now open. Do we have a limit on pit stops tonight, mate? What is
No,
it?
they can pit as many times as they like.
As times as they want. They're probably going to need it with the tyres. How they're tearing through them.
Track temperatures have dropped 4 degrees Celsius. It was 37 degrees Celsius track temperature. Glenn McLeod has a little bit of a bubble on the power, and immediately behind him as well, the next car in line, the 99, I believe, of Riley Jones, was struggling to pick up the throttle as well. So everyone's struggling. None more so than Daniel Harris.
Yeah, he's still dropping positions as we talk about it. He's just dropped another 2.
Is he going to come in? Was that him diving to the pit lane, or was that him diving to the defender spot?
Yep, Daniel Harris has pulled into the pits. Is that going to be our first choice of pits tonight?
It's the first car on his way into the pits, and it looks like he might have had a spin on the way in as well. So just to add insult to injury.
He's done an injury. Definitely looks like he's got damage on the front of that car, so he might have just clipped the pit walls on the way in.
Remember, he had that contact on the front left with Capel earlier too.
Yeah, so that could have been playing havoc as well. Although, how's the aero on these things? How much does it take to really affect the way it already handles?
Absolutely nothing. It takes next to nothing. They just, on the ovals, one touch, and you are basically just fighting the car for the rest of the race from there on. You'll wear more tyre, that you'll be slower in a straight line. It's just no fun. So he'll be keen to get a fast repair. That's not Capel on screen. That's Grant Matterford, his teammate in the 79 machine, and the 274 machine of Luke Georgeson.
Yeah. Looks like we've got a good little battle here. They're both side by side, both braking very similar times.
And Daniel Harris has just said he's had enough.
Oh no, Dano, what are you doing, mate?
So he is in pit lane, and that will be the end of his night.
Well, we need to get him in here and give him hell. Call him a quitter. Make sure he knows that we're disappointed in him.
He said to me the other day, I actually don't own Coda, I'm not going to race it. Well, I fixed that problem really quickly.
Yeah, we did see that. Well, we've got to get the SRW boys out there representing, so... And hey, mate, you're going to get those hard races that, are going to make you feel like you want to quit, and tonight, you are a quitter, Daniel. You are being labelled a quitter as of tonight.
You are just not letting him get away with this one at all.
No, he's a bloody good driver, and I know he'd school me around the track, so... I don't know if you just saw that, but Dylan De Bono took massive air after hitting the ripple strip on the right-hand side. His whole truck was nearly just straight up in the air.
They call these anti-cut curbs, mainly because they've got a point on them. So there's a little bit of the curb that acts like a normal sausage curb, all the way up to a point. And when you get over that point, it launches the car like what you just saw there. You can touch the curb, just brush it slightly with the tire and you're fine. Anything more than a brush, and you may very quickly end up with better steering.
It'd be interesting to see if that actually affected Dylan there, because he definitely hit that strip extremely hard to put that car up as high as it went.
I would say there's front splitter damage for sure. Would not surprise me in the slightest. Oh, Adam Hughes downshifts early on the way into the hairpin. Does not work out well for him.
Oh, Joe Daly nearly got that move. Is he going to get the cross up to get past Adam Hughes? I think he has.
Still side by side, and now it's Adam Hughes that was trying to look after tyres. He was defending aggressively, and he's burned up his tyres in the process. Capel now fighting with De Bono once again. They're slicing and dicing for track position on the way into the long right-hander. Bono cutting a little bit of curve there, trying to find some time. Closing in on half race distance. There's 5 minutes left. A lap car immediately in front of these guys. Capel needs to not get held up. And in comes another driver to pit lane. So somebody's looking for the undercut there. It's Joe Daly.
Car. They've hit the lapped car. They've both just clipped him on the way through.
That's part and parcel of racing. You got to deal with the lap traffic. And De Bono loses a spot out of it. Capel's clear. Capel will run away with this now.
With a lapped car, do they have to yield to the traffic that's coming from behind them? or can they hold their spot and keep racing?
Circuit's a little bit different. Generally, it's a courtesy rule that you will just let these guys go. But with the NASCAR series, no. NASCAR series actually don't have blue flags. The reason for that is strategy. Sometimes as a car that's sort of running on the lead lap, you might come in and make an early stop, look to get on those tires. Remember, we talked about tire fall off. That's so critical to this series. Well, sometimes you'll do what they call in the NASCAR world as short pitting. We know it as undercutting. Come in a little bit early, get some fresh rubber on. It means you have to race your way back through the field. So lapped cars have the same rights as a lead lap car, but the lead lap car is still going to get that move done cleanly. It's a little bit different in terms of circuits. You'll see a little bit more leeway given to the lead lap cars, but there should not necessarily be just a get out of the way policy.
Okay, so we could see if you had some teammates that were sitting further in the back of the pack that might have been getting lapped at the time, actually using their track position to hold up the leaders. So that could be something interesting to see if we do more road tracks, of course.
Well, this is the only road track on the schedule, so it's actually not a big issue.
Yes, but this is only season 1, mate, and I can definitely see us pulling the NASCARs for a second season.
What have you seen much NASCAR racing in real life?
To be honest, man, I just go and watch the highlights of the crashes. Like, that's what I'm there for. I can't lie.
Nathan's, of course, Nathan's actually here just saying crash highlights. Well, that's what he put together over the week. All the crash highlights of round number 1 at Charlotte. If you want to see that, go ahead and flick on over to our YouTube channel. I believe you've got it uploaded there, Nathan.
Yeah, I've been uploading a few new videos to YouTube, not just our live broadcast. Also head over to Facebook as well, where we keep everything up to date with who's leading championships and what races and tracks are coming up next.
Probably an important time to actually go through and have a look at our schedule. So we've already talked about, we've got COTA this week, the twists, the turns. It's tricky racing here from the Circuit of the Americas only circuit round. We've mentioned that to death at this point in time. But coming up throughout the season, let's actually talk about all of the tracks. Starting off from next week, we've got the 100-lap short track race from Legacy Phoenix. So Legacy Phoenix is an older configuration. I believe it's the 2009 configuration, actually might be earlier than that. 100 laps coming from there. Then we'll head on over to one of the widest tracks on iRacing. It's the Michigan Motor Speedway, 1.5 mile, the first of what we term our cookie cutter circuits for 75 laps of draft intense racing at Michigan. After that, it's the first of our big tracks, the 2.5 milers and the triple turned threat of Pocono, the tricky triangle, tough to tame, tougher to master. Eldora Dirt will follow that for round number 6. We'll have a heat into feature format. You'll see 24 trucks down from the 30 to 35 numbers that we'd normally see that'll make the feature there. After that, the first and only of our super speedways of the season. It's the Daytona Oval. The guys will learn their bump drafting skills and get to apply them there for round number 7. Following that, the second of our cookie cutter 1.5 mile style circuits from Kentucky, the Twin Ring Motegi. The trucks will transition all the way over to Japan for one round. Even though it's the American invasion, the Twin Ring Motegi is a fantastically difficult circuit to try and race these cars around for 75 laps there. And then finally, the big finale is Indianapolis, 75 laps of the 2.5 mile circuit. Drafting's everything. Tire conservation's everything. There's 4 turns at Indianapolis, 4 90-degree left-handers, and it's fantastic.
Mate, look, you've got me excited. I'm ready, mate. I'm ready. I'm glad I jumped on board with the trucks for the first season, mate. It sounds like it's going to be a blast all the way through to the grand final to see who is crowned champion. And I think we have some great contenders just seeing the first 2 races already.
I can tell you Dylan DeBono's just gone off track as well. Grant Matterford, he's just made contact with him. DeBono is going backwards massively.
Well, this is an onboard shot of Grant Matterford. Not sure why their name's not showing up in replay mode. Oh, he's come out of nowhere. He pulled that handbrake way too early.
That's just a downshift. That's all that is.
Yeah,
it's just diff locked the car and it's just pivoted it on him.
So was that was DeBono that came soaring in. Let's get a quick view of that. See how quick he comes in.
You know what? This is making the highlights package for next week. I can see it already.
Oh, mate, it's up there already. Oh.
See that? That's just a downshift. You go back to the moment where he loses the car, he just shifts down. That's all it is. Loses the tail end of the car. Nothing he can really do. He's just a passenger at that point.
And you see that in the ovals as well. Once these things let go, that's it. It's just let go of the steering wheel and let it run its course, because there's nothing you can do.
You got to remember, when they're on ovals, I mean, it's American series, so they use miles an hour. They're doing 180, 200 miles an hour. So that's, getting up there towards 300 kilometers an hour. So it's intense. The speeds are massive. And these aren't light vehicles either. And they're running very, very close together. So your window for correcting a mistake is minuscule. If you want millimeter perfect or correctly inch perfect coming out of the States, you're going to end up with nowhere to go, out of sorts, a car that's not working the way that you want it to, all of these sorts of things. It's just a terrible, terrible time. So look, it's tricky, it's tough, and honestly, I'd let go of the wheel too.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's no point trying to hold on. You end up with broken fingers, broken wrists. It's not worth it. Mate, Dylan De Bono's really starting to fall off. He's just lost another 2 positions. Cut a little bit hot through the corner and just lit those back tyres up, and 2 guys were able to easily just round him up and off they go.
Yeah, so Race Control's actually investigating that incident too between Grant Matterford and Dylan De Bono, so I have a feeling there's a penalty. It's tough because De Bono's obviously lost control of his vehicle, but the drivers, we expect them to be able to maintain control of their vehicles. So if they take somebody out and they've lost control of their vehicle, it's as if they've punted them off the circuit at the same time. So
you wouldn't throw that down as a racing incident?
No, you can't. Yeah, there's nothing you can do because he's impacted Grant Matterford's race. If Grant Matterford's had to come down the pit lane and serve his pit stop out of sequence, potentially taking his night away from him, it's potentially fast repair in the hull. He's having to come down off strategy, off sequence, all of these sorts of things. So it takes him out of sequence. So it's actually quite critical that he doesn't do that. And it's promoting safer driving out of these guys as well. You wouldn't do that in real life because somebody would get injured in that sort of an accident. So you don't do that on the sim. De Bono's lost it again. Actually, just watching him.
We'll just Jake Edwards overtake Jeremy Bush beautifully on that corner there. Some of these guys are showing that it looks like they've, it looks at this point in time that some of them are really getting a hold of these trucks and this track. And the times are definitely falling off right now.
Well, you got to remember that over this many laps, there's 15 laps so far in this fuel stint, they'd be 60% on the tyre of 100%, so that's a lot of tyre wear, and they'd be struggling for the remaining condition. They might be underneath the 50% threshold, and once they do that, the tyre falls off even quicker. It's actually an increase to the tyre wear once it goes below 50% on the sim, so...
Oh, so it actually starts wearing faster.
Yeah. It's like the tyres worn through that couple surface layers, and you're starting to get closer to the canvas sort of thing.
Yep. Right. Okay. Well, full of good information, Mr. Scotty Rankin here with us tonight, which is great to have. We always want people on board that can feed us the information that myself, not coming from a sim racing background, that I love learning about it. So, hey, if you guys out there in the comment section right now got any questions for Scotty Rankin about NASCARs or anything else, shoot us a few questions out there. We love getting involved with all you out there watching our broadcast. Also, like to say a huge shout out to all of you out there joining in our broadcast week to week. So thank you so much for being with us and following along in all the series.
You know what's an awkward time for a cat to come in and start demanding attention? Smooching your microphone and anything whilst you're in the middle of a commentary broadcast. It's unprofessional. Apparently cats don't understand that though.
No, I'm pretty sure that's the leader of your household now, mate. Joe Daly has run the fastest lap of the race with a 2:17.20.
So it's fastest legal lap of the race. Remember that there's no incident point limits. However, what iRacing does is actually strips the time off you. So even though the time might register in the system, there's actually faster race laps that have been run by other guys. The times have been deleted within the race. There's just no penalty for doing so.
Okay, well, he is up 18 positions into second place, so I'm gonna let him have the fastest lap, plus with an astounding display of 18 positions. We'll see if he can hold that as we have just ticked over the halfway mark of this hour-long race, and people are starting to pull into the pits hot off the track right now.
And Dylan DeBono is going to become the second of our retirements so far this evening. So it's the front runners in qualifying that are struggling through the middle of the race, and they're falling by the wayside.
Oh, so Dylan DeBono is pulling out of the race. Unlucky, mate. Awesome racing.
So let's take a quick look at the strategies that have played their way out through the race at this point in time. So remember what I was saying about the undercut, or the NASCAR terminology, short pitting. That's what Joseph Daly is actually taking the opportunity to do. Track temperatures are starting to come down, so there's actually going to be less tire wear in this second half of the race. So by him short pitting and getting on those fresh little tires earlier on, he's made a huge amount of time over Lachlan Capel. But Lachlan Capel's now got a fresh truck. He's taken a fast repair, so maybe we're going to see fastest laps of the race coming out of Capel. I think he's actually just taken a half a second out of Joseph Daly this lap. So Daly's going to be starting to fall off. His tyres have been on. That means they're falling off. And keep your eyes on Braden Martin as well. I mean, this is a P8. This is a phenomenal finish for him if he can hang on to this. 15 seconds back from Paul Bryan, who's having an amazing battle once again with Jake Edwards. These guys are still going toe-to-toe.
As we drop back through the pack, we've got Matty Scholes and Jeremy Bush fighting with each other. And not too far in front, as you can see, we've got Riley Jones and Grant Manafort as well. So we could end up with a four-way battle here to take us through the last 20 minutes of this race. The fight for
remember,
that top 10.
This is a recovery drive for Matty Scholes. Ran into some trouble, ran into issues on the opening lap of the race. And remember, it's race on. There's no real intervention unless there's something absolutely blatantly wrong. So my book, I haven't seen whatever happened to him on lap number 1. I'd say it's probably a racing incident. You know, drivers are all packed in together. There's going to be a lot more bumping and grinding than would necessarily normally happen under most racing circumstances. So race control's made the decision. Hey, didn't really have the ability to review that one. Don't really think there's anything at play, so race on. Scholes, regardless, Scholes has turned. He's at the back of the field no matter what, so he's got to drive through that. And drive through that he has.
He has. What's he? Oh, he's down 7, but he fell right to the back of the pack, didn't he? But he's actually essentially pushed himself back closer to where he started.
Have a look at this gap. This is going to be so critical to keep an eye on between Capel and Daly. 6 seconds. We've got 20 minutes or so, just over 20 minutes to follow through. And Jake Edwards versus Paul Bryan's another one. And finally, Bryan goes around the outside and gets that one done. So it's another spot there for Paul Bryan.
What an astounding race he's having too. He's now up 6 spots as well. What a great time to be trying to get yourself back into that top 5.
Well, I mean, if he finishes here, this will hand him more than likely the series lead. So he's got something to consider. He just needs to make a clean run here to the end of the race. And Riley Jones having another cracking race. There's a fair few guys right up and down the field. Remember, we said that the road course will just sort of be the equalizer of the series. So Jones is going to try and go with Scholes here, I think. I think the plan will just be to follow along. Adam Hughes had a quiet night at the office. A little bit of bumping and grinding in the opening stanza. Defensive driving was on point from Adam Hughes.
Timing just had a spaz. It actually said Adam Hughes had passed Lachlan Capel. I was a little confused there. That's why we quickly jumped over to Adam Hughes to have a look. So,
whoa! Capel just did a 2:15.5. Joseph Daly just did a 2:18.1. So he's ripped 2.5 seconds out of Joe Daly on that lap alone. Wow. So he is coming.
He is flying. And as we were discussing in the beginning, Lachlan Capel is not new to driving these, is he? He's had a bit of experience behind the trucks. Dean Sinkovich dropping in. Come on, Dano, get back on the track or you're fired. Dean Sinkovich, one of the co-owners of Sim Racing World TV, getting in there and giving it to his employees.
And fair. To be perfectly honest, fair.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, that's right.
Come in, get a fresh set of tyres, Daniel, get back out there on track. You never know what happens in the rest of the race. Anyway, but yeah, Capelli raced in the NASCAR Thunder Series here a couple of weeks ago at Talladega. He was on for a win, actually, and just sort of things didn't go his way on the last lap. As so often is the case when we get to the super speedways, it's all about having a dance partner. You got to take a partner to the dance. You don't show up to a team race without a dance partner. You don't show up to the prom without a dance partner. It's just not done. So it's unfortunately that's the way that things went for Capelli, and it was a strong showing from him. He took a lot of lessons out of that. So this was a series he was targeting to come back out and show some form in for this season for Sim Racing. While Jake Edwards is still trying to hold here with Paul Bryan. The draft will assist him at least to show up. But look at Capel. Capel's taking another second and a half again out of Daly this lap.
He's got those fresh tyres ready to go again.
You can see him. He can see him now.
We've got Bellinger on YouTube. He said, how's the race been? Wasn't able to get in the rig in time. Unlucky, mate. The race has been absolutely astounding. And clock on screen, it is an hour race tonight, mate. An hour race. So we are nearly down to our last 15 minutes of this race. I don't know what. So
that's actually Brad. That's actually Brad Clank that showed up in YouTube chat. So big shout out to Brad. Obviously, something's prevented him from getting into the sim on time, unfortunately, for tonight. He'll show up again next week from Michigan, and his team, the Senate Sim Sports boys, will hopefully be on track. Teammates actually not doing too bad out there this evening. Where is he running at this point in time? Oh, George Minus off in the background as well, as the battle between Jake Edwards and Paul Bryan continues to unfold. McLeod's in P14. There you go on the ticker at the bottom of the screen.
How good is that ticket? Look, I got to say, I think that's brought a nice, refreshing change to our overlays for Sim Racing World TV.
Look at these guys. They're both struggling for grit. Well, it's going to get worse soon, and they're still going toe-to-toe. This is how it's done. It's clean. You're all struggling. You're all in the wars. Nothing's going your way. But hey, at the end of the race, make sure that you have a good old battle with somebody and don't spoil it for everyone.
That's what it's all about too. Is you want to come out, have some fun, enjoy yourself, but make sure everybody else enjoys themselves as well.
Tell you what, Capelli, we're going to have to keep an eye on him because he is below 4 seconds now to Joe Daly, but the margins aren't closing up as much as they were initially, so that tyre deg is starting to blend its way back into Joe Daly's favour. So I wonder if Burgess is starting to slow off as well. 18 seconds is the gap out in front, so huge margin from P1 back to P2, and then it's just sort of all these little gaps in between the cars, and there's a huge margin back to Paul Bryan and Jake Edwards.
Gotta say, Miles Burgess has just absolutely taken off with this race. Absolutely taken off from the start.
He just set sail, didn't he?
He did, and he's taken a stop as well. I don't know if we saw that or not. I think I've missed it, but he has taken a pit stop, and he has kept that massive lead.
And look at Georgeson as well. Georgeson's taken 2 pit stops, so he's the first of the driver to go onto that alternate strategy. So he'll have fresher rubber at this point in time. He's only 6 seconds back off Braden Martin. So Martin will want to be trying to hang on to his P8 finish. He may manage to hang on to P2 in the... he may gain P2 in the championship out of this because Brian's the only one ahead of him. So the championship is going to be 5 kinds of mixed up after tonight's racing, if you ask me, Nathan.
Oh mate, it's going to be interesting just to see how it flows through the whole season, mate. With the way it's showing from the first race to the second race, I think the battles are going to come right down to the final race, mate.
And that's what we want from a NASCAR series, because it doesn't just come down to the final race. It comes down to every lap of the final race. It's so hard to get away from everyone. So we've got a replay here. Riley Jones.
I think, yep, he's tried to turn the truck into a drift truck. He has. And again, that rear end just sliding out on them. That has been the main reason that someone has let it go tonight. Do you think that was downshifting again, or that was like just trying to get on the power too much out of the corner?
Yeah, it's tricky because you kind of can't. You can't add steering angle and power at the same time, and first gear is the most tricky one to sort of hang on to. Slow car there. It's crawling along. I want to see who that is. It's not minus.
It was a back marker.
It wasn't Hodges. Surely it wasn't Hodges.
Car.
Wouldn't have been Chris Thornton again, would it?
Could have been. I don't see anything in my timing tower about anybody getting off track. So I didn't see Chris lose any positions.
No,
either,
it wasn't Thornton. It wasn't Thornton. I've just had a look at that last lap, so
yeah,
not sure who that was crawling. But there's no slow cars out on track anymore. Battle for, I believe, is that P6, P7 is on at the moment. Yeah, it's still Brian and Jake Edwards at this point in time.
Yeah, these guys have been non-stop over, what, the last 10, 15 minutes, these guys. Oh,
Matterford struggling with acceleration and poor Brian struggling under braking. It's a handful. It's a handful when you're going in both directions, trying to pull the car up, and Brian's still stepping the thing out. As a race car driver, you just want to put your foot on the go fast pedal, and sometimes you just kind of can't do that.
Oh, well, these guys have proven that you can, as long as you hold onto that steering wheel and you know, kiss your gods and hold on tight. Oh, there it goes again. Might have actually lost him that position. Oh, this is going to be a close one.
He just gets better traction off the... Oh! He gets better traction until he gets into second gear, and Jake Edwards, he's going to finally send it to the inside, try and take this one back. Brian is struggling for traction. Jake Edwards deep on the brakes, deep into turn one. The crisscross it's on, trying to get back to the throttle. Now it's Edwards' turn to fire up the tyres. Brian nearly gets there, doesn't quite get the traction. With all the wheel spin you got from Jake Edwards' point of view, he thought he might have lost it once again, but no, he's going to walk away with the spot.
Well, this was that drift show I was hoping we'd get to see at some point in time through the race today. I was definitely looking forward to seeing these trucks get sideways, that's for sure. Oh, we've got another battle here with Riley Jones and Grant Matterford coming down the final straight here. Oh no, Riley Jones got on the loud pedal a bit too soon and spat himself. Has just dropped position. Is he going to be able to get back onto track safely? He's going to let a couple of positions go and then pull back on nice and safely.
So gentlemanly conduct there from Riley Jones. What a great effort by him. Closing era, final 10 minutes, and it looks like Capel's actually started to fall off once again. Or is he he got down under 3 seconds?
Yeah, he was nearly under that 2 second mark. He was right on the verge of 2 seconds, and yeah, he's fallen off again.
So a moment for Capel, which means tyres are falling off, and Joe Daly might have just gone into conservation mode. He's looked after those tyres. So Capel is going hunting. Track temperatures has not fallen away any further. Still 31 Celsius out here in the desert in Texas.
We're just about to tick over to the final 10 minutes of this race, and it looks like, unless Miles Burgess does something absolutely silly right now, he is going to walk away with a comfortable win from the word go.
Can somebody jump on the blower and tell him there's a bonus point for fastest lap? There isn't, but we want to see him come in for a fresh set of tyres.
Yeah, get in there. Someone pull him into the... Yeah, someone give him a reason to pull into the pits. I'll give him a bonus point if he runs the fastest lap.
I know the series admin, we can have it arranged.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. We know the guys who run the series. We can sort something out for sure.
But that's where he's making his time, isn't it? You can just go so much deeper, let the truck rotate. There's no track limits in this series, remember. It's so critical. And there's a few drivers looking at him in the first couple laps and going, oh, I haven't practiced that. Oh, that's a risk driving that way. I guess I kind of can't really do that, so... But he set the fastest qualifying lap in Miles Burgess. Yeah, you can't set that by running off the track. So, therefore, I mean, he's still theoretically the fastest driver.
Yeah, well, you can see how deep he's taking everything. He's really trying to, as you said, race conservative and just keep that lead, run out the last 10 minutes of the race and take...
That's the slowdown. That's a slowdown penalty as far out as he was there, for sure. So he'll have a ticker on his screen right now that says you have to slow down by this much to give back the time that you've gained by running off the track. And if he doesn't clear that within 30 seconds, he'll get a drive-through penalty. Actually, I think it's a 40-second stop and hold penalty. So he'll be mindful to get that one cleared, but the trucks at this point in time, the tyre fall-off is so large that he'd probably clear it without too much trouble.
Oh, Lucky Cable has caught up to Joe Daly. Lucky Cable has now moved into second position. Did we have some pitting? What has happened? How did he catch up so quick?
So something's happened. And I've just had a quick look around where they are on track, and there's nobody inside of them either. And Adam Hughes is starting to come for Daly. So Hughes will range up on this really quickly as well. Adam Hughes pit on lap 15, so he is slightly older tyres than Capel, but not quite as old as Joe Daly. So Daly's obviously struggling quite big, and you can see the difference in the tyres already.
Yeah, Capel went from, 3 seconds off to just all of a sudden on top of him. So that really shows that tyre fall off makes a massive difference. That it could make a couple of seconds or a second per lap.
So the difference last time by lap 4 Capel was a 2:17.480. Joe Daly did a 2:21, so it's 4 seconds slower. I'd say Daly's had a run in somewhere with or a moment, and that's allowed Capel to close down, and then Capel still had to get the move done, but with tyres that much newer, it's pretty simple.
I can see Joe Daly has had an off track.
So this will tell us more if we've got it on the replay.
Yeah, we can get a replay thanks to DSL Welding.
No, Capel's already there, so this is way too late.
Oh, that's the only off track I can see that
Anyway, that's what it is. Maybe that's just the fall off that he's suffering from. Maybe it's just natural pace at that level. So Adam Hughes conveniently did a 2:17.697, so just about identical pace to Capel.
So 9 minutes to go, 7 minutes to go. Quick maths, not 7 minutes to go. Do you think Adam Hughes is going to be able to push the back of Joe Daly hard enough? And I must say again, Joe Daly up 17 positions and has been sitting there.
Still be a gain of 16, even if Adam Hughes gets by him.
That's still, that's phenomenal.
So, Leon Williams there will just pull to the side and let these two trundle on by. Has Capel made a mistake? No, sorry, that's not Capel. Yes, it is Capel. It's not for position, that one that I was thinking though, so it's a different battle. And Joe Daly's actually had to come back in pit lane. So he's out of fuel. He didn't make it to the end.
Oh, no, Joe Daly. Wonder if he can... Oh, he splashed and dashed. He's out already. That was a quick stop.
So he might have come in, gone, oh, there's a window here to get back in. His strategy was, I've got to try and hold on to P2, I've got to try and hold on to P3. If I don't hold on to those positions, we'll come back in and get a fresh set of tyres, fresh set of rubber, and we'll get back out there and see if we can charge back up and make something happen. So that's allowed Aiden Norris to go past him, but they're wheel to wheel. Now this will tell us the story of whether or not he did actually get fresh rubber. It looks pretty even, banging wheels.
There's a bit of a bang and a touch there.
Aiden Norris will obviously cut the track, but he's sort of forced off the road there, so he will have a cut the course slowdown that he'll have to serve, which he is now. So that's why he's slowed down quite aggressively right there.
Good side-by-side racing. You're going to get a little bit of a bump here and there, and that's what we like to see, but we also like to see keeping it respectful between the drivers.
So Daly's got back to P4, so it's still a gain of 16 positions. Great drive from him. He'll be happy with that. It's a good finish. Jeremy Bush has done quite well. He's grabbed 3 spots. Racing Grant Matterford, Capel's teammate, quite aggressively here, so this will be a fun battle to the end of the race.
Are they coming through some back markers as well?
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the number 9 truck there of Evan Horsfield out of Man Up Sim Racing. So he's struggling down on P24. He's showed up, he's driven, he's going to finish the race, which is better than Daniel Harris and Dylan DeBono have done.
Bit unlucky there for those boys. I was really hoping that they'd both stick it through and see out the race, but you know, people make their decisions for their own reasons. And all I can say is, Dano, you're a bloody quitter, mate.
He's going to commentate with you again sometime this week, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
I look forward to sitting in the audience when I see that happen.
The thing is, though, when I'm with Dano, I'm behind the scenes. I'm in his ear, so you won't get to hear the lovely banter that I get to throw at him.
Or will we? I mean, you're behind the scenes. You're the one that gets to decide whether or not the microphone comes off mute.
Yeah. Oops, my microphone's loud.
Oh.
Dano's great. It's good to have a bit of a laugh with your mates.
It's important to note that that's what the sim racing world culture is all about as well. As it's grown over the last couple of series, as you know, I've gone from driver to series admin and race controller to commentator as well. Is that you know, it's Jeremy, I'm sorry, I've just missed that one.
Yeah, mate, he's come round the corner. It looked like he was going to hold on to it. The truck's kicked sideways. It looks like he's got off the accelerator. And as you were saying before, when you get on and off that accelerator, it's found grip and spat him back the other way.
And that's the leader too, Miles Burgess just in behind. So Burgess has got a 25-second lead, so he doesn't need to be too aggressive here.
Oh, gosh. He's that in the Fishy Boys car that nearly got a little bit
Peter
of clip
Morris.
there. Oh, Miles! Starting to show off a little bit. I think he knows he's got this race in the bag with only 2 minutes to go. Get that truck sideways, mate. Show us what you got.
He will actually get the white flag this time by, and there you can see the white flag's out because it's a 2-minute and 20-second lap at this stage of the event. So he's got to cross the line just shy of 2 minutes to go. So white flag, one more lap left to run, and what a showing from Burgess. It's been class from go to woe. I mean, he's got 25 seconds. Opportunity for him to light some tyres up in early. Put on an expression session over this last lap. He was trying to put on an expression session last lap.
We need to give him some airtime. I feel like he's been so far out in the front of the field that let's ride with him. Let's watch him as we go through the final laps. He deserves it. It has been a phenomenal drive. It's going to be hard to beat this drive, I think, across the rest of the series. Because Miles has absolutely showed us what a top-tier driver can do.
Well, I mean, guys are going to say, yeah, look, over racing's difficult, and you really can't show your driver talents. You actually can, but the problem is that the drafting package generally tends to pack races up together until the tyres start to fall away. So generally in short format races, that's why you see that the cars will stick together. It's hard to pull away when, you know, there's no big braking zones to really show all your prowess and whatnot on, but you show that on ovals in different formats. So when you see a 25-second lead, yeah, that'll be the biggest margin for the season. Why it's the only road course race we go to. But when you compare that over the 26 laps, it's less than a second a lap that he's been faster than the rest of the pack. So there's been not a huge deal in it.
No, but he stretched that out to nearly 25 seconds, so what a phenomenal drive, mate. Well done.
I mean, next week is actually kind of a road courses race. So with all the skills he's put on display here tonight and how difficult this is to control, the drivers will come next week to Phoenix and they'll have to be on the brakes again. The trucks will get a little bit antsy when they get back on the power and those sorts of things as well. So Phoenix is going to be a really good test, and Miles Burgess has been sat down, he's been examined, and everyone else has been found wanting. Where do they go next week when they go to Phoenix? Well, Burgess is asking all the right questions.
Oh, there he goes. Get that truck sideways out the last corner. That beautiful display of control there as he comes across the finish line. Well done, Miles Burge. Lockie Capel. As looks like he's held second position. What a beautiful race by all competitors on the track tonight. Oh no! Was that George Myers spinning out?
I think it was.
Yeah. Get up it, Lucky. Well done, Adam Hughes, to come through sideways near the wall. Let's go, mate. That's what we came here to see. Beautiful way to finish across the finish line there. Joe Daly has managed to hold 4th position. As long as he gets across the line right now. Which
what a drive he's done as well, because remember when he came out of the pits, he was side by side with Aiden Norris, and now it's 15 seconds.
He really showed some serious form. He didn't want to lose that top 3. I think that little quick hit. Oh, hold on to it, Joe.
No, he's celebrating. He's having a great time, and I mean, you've got to celebrate. You've got to burn it down. Aiden Norris crawls across the line. That's a damaged truck. That's a very heavily damaged truck.
Yeah.
That's why the time fall off was quite excessive. Jake Edwards, what a great battle he had with Paul Bryan as well. Paul Bryan's most likely going to walk away and have the championship lead after this round, and he deserves to do so. You know, it's difficult to come to Coda and be successful, but he's come to Coda and he hasn't been successful. He's come to Coda and had an average race, and sometimes you just need to take that away, particularly when you've got 30 trucks out on track and it's a difficult circuit or the pack's right together. You're going to have those races where things go your way. A driver that hasn't had things all his own way tonight but still put on a huge display is Matthew Scholes. Yeah, look, he'll scrape into the top 10. He'll come home P8. But hey, you got to take that. You know, sometimes things don't go your way. He's driven phenomenally. He's driven all the way back up through the field to P8.
Lucky there's no repair costs on these cars, because at the end of the race, they've just turned this into a destruction derby.
This will be interesting because the 274 was asked to redress this position on the final lap of the race. So whether or not he does so, or whether or not he's already done that, I cannot tell you.
Suppose we'll find out with anything afterwards that needs to be addressed. But beautiful racing. Well done to Braden Martin too, pulling into our 10th position. What a great race he's had. He was in and out the battles and in the mix with everybody tonight.
Well, I mean, that's our first taste of NASCAR on a road course circuit. And it's tricky. You've seen that. You've seen the best of the best. And you've seen them probably at their worst. A whole bunch of people were thrown an awkward setup, a difficult thing to drive around tracks tonight. And this is actually a really, really good opportunity to examine these guys and what they're capable of when we head to the dirt over in a couple weeks' time, because it's going to be a similar kind of skill set, just a lot less brake involved. You're enjoying that, aren't you?
I love the burnouts at the end, mate. I really do. I think it's great.
That's sand.
Yeah, that is sand.
That's a great shot at sand. Can you give me some more sand, Nathan?
Oh, mate,
I want to see more
as
sand.
much sand as you want, buddy.
Is it Tatooine? Because that's how much sand I've seen right now.
It looked like it, that's for sure. Mate, I can give you any shot you want with that manual camera. If you want to have a look at the grass, the beautiful grass, we can do that. And
occasionally we can have a look at Joe Daly smoking up some rubber.
Yeah,
well,
that's what we want to see.
I think it's about time for some interviews. We'll see if we can get our drivers post-race into the interview room.
Yeah, let's get them in there. Just like to give a shout out to our main sponsors tonight. DSL Welding Services, the promo department, all your promo needs, and Dragonrc. So thank you so much for being on board again for a second season.
Let alone coming on board for a NASCAR Trucks series as well. You know, it's difficult. This is an American-style series of racing. You never know how much appeal the sponsor's going to get out of it with the value for money. Well, 2 races in, I don't know, Nathan. I think they've got more than their value for money, but it's easy to say that from our position, isn't it?
Oh, mate, honestly, coming from a season that, you know, was sort of organized, you know, later on in the back end, I think that they've definitely got their money's worth. It has been a phenomenal show of driver skill over the first oval course and now onto the road track. So I'm pumped for the rest of the season.
I'm going to see if I can find Adam Hughes and just drag him in here. So give me a sec. Yeah, look, I've got all 3 of the drivers, so I can just drag them wherever I want.
It's a nice feeling.
Mr. Adam Hughes. It's not quite a Porsche Cup car, but you still seem to be able to make it go fast. I suppose this is a great practice session for what you'll be experiencing on Thursday night, mate.
Yeah, pretty much. This is just basically a feel and a practice session for me. So with it add a bit of fun and good race, mate. I enjoyed it. It's definitely a difficult car to get your head around, let alone around this track.
Look, you're a Porsche. We were obviously just talking as Porsche specialist, but there's a couple of major key differences. Porsches don't have a locked rear differential. Porsches have 6 gears, not 4. It's a paddle shift versus a H pattern. There's a lot of work that goes on in this car. I mean, a Porsche doesn't want to turn a lot of the time. This thing wants to turn all of the time.
This thing is you can't overdrive them because as soon as you do, particularly on road courses, the tires just go to absolute mud. And if you just back off and you just cruise, you keep the tyres in a good sort of operating window and you can attack someone, then back off and slowly sort of just keep the tyre temps down. And whereas a Porsche, you can just flat out. You just go like the bloody crack of dawn.
We saw some amazing defensive driving and really, really good battle pack between, what was there, 5 cars in that battle pack at one point in time? Dylan DeBono, Lachlan Capel, I believe it was Hayden Arrett, Hayden, the number 20 machine as well. Joe Daly was in there for a fair while. Dylan Harris as well. Just drivers. That battle pack was probably the most intense one on the circuit. It just didn't go away either.
No, it was good. I was blocking absolutely hard because Dylan apparently didn't like it. He made a few choice words. So if you listen to this, Dylan, good to see you finish in the pit lane. I finished in 3rd, but such is life, brother. I was blocking hard because obviously Miles is my teammate, and the longer I held them up, the further he got away, and he ended up winning it. So absolutely stoked for him, and congrats to Lockie Capel for coming a solid second. Like I was catching him, but I just didn't have enough tyre life to reel him in slowly. So, but I'm happy with 3rd, Scotty. Really happy with 3rd.
Mate, look, I've tried to throw curveballs your way, but it seems it doesn't work. What, do I just have to throw heaps of grip at the car? Is that the next step? Do you need more downforce? What makes you struggle? Because I can't find a combination that you're bad at.
Ovals I am terrible at.
Okay, so I did find the combination.
Yeah, ovals I am absolutely shocking at.
It's okay, mate. You have my number if you need some coaching. It's all right. You can...
Make sure you charge him for that too.
Adam Hughes gets nothing from me for free. Don't worry.
That's right, surely.
Mate, well, what a finish tonight from the number 1 machine. Great opportunity for you to thank the sponsors. I mean, your teammates are running some interesting liveries there I did see out and around, but you're over there in the nice, quite classic golf-style livery, I guess you would say, in the STP entries. So opportunity, the floor's yours, mate.
Yeah, look, just thanks to obviously yourself, to Nath, to hosting and broadcasting and whatnot, and obviously to Miles for a mega win. Obviously again to Lockie Capel and obviously the boys at Crisscross, Stefan, KYB, Doom Designs, Jennifer Russell Real Estate, Smoke Studios, and I think that's it. And obviously Jake for being my teammate for the season for the series. So yeah, mate, pretty wrapped. And yeah, thanks again to you two guys.
You're most welcome, mate. Thanks for putting on a great show.
Bugger off and bother somebody else now, you pest.
I will, mate. I will, promise.
Have a great night, Adam.
You too. Cheers, boys.
Catch you, mate.
He's a hoot, isn't he? He's just a whole bunch of fun to hang around. Well, he's a 16-year-old, but he's a 16-year-old that can turn quick laps. And he's a 16-year-old that I think has actually gone to bed. No, there he is. He's around for us. It'll be a great opportunity to chat to Lachlan Capel after the disaster that was last week. Lachlan Capel, you remembered what the pit lane speed limit entry was this week?
Yeah, I did. Although that was the first time I've ever entered pit lane, so I didn't really know what I was doing. But you know what? I didn't overspeed, and I know what I was doing, and I didn't die. So you know what? I'll take that.
That's a big positive to have too, Lucky.
It is indeed.
It looked like you guys had all the fun in the world out there. You had Dylan DeBono, who was over you almost every lap there for the start for the first run. Harris was there in front of you until his tyres ran away from him. You had Aiden in behind you. It seemed like everything's bigger in Texas, and, well, everything's a bigger battle when you take a big old stock car to Texas, that's for sure.
It is indeed. I'm no stranger to these cars, especially on road courses. But I haven't tried the new ones out yet after the new 2022 Camping World update. So yeah, I was having a good battle. Was a bit annoyed during quali when I was somehow up on my second lap by 3/10 and I would have beaten Dan, but he just had to come over the radio and start talking and yeah, basically throw my Lapo in the bin. But I moved on from that, and then he proceeds to just misjudge the corner and pretty much take me out. Which he was just driving. I could see the inexperience. I mean, he's very quick, I reckon, but just yeah, I could see the inexperience with the under pressure and just going for a move that yeah wasn't really on. But yeah, he'll grow. I probably had the most to lose in this race because I think I've done the most in these cars. But yeah, other than that, I had a really, really great battle with the other two guys at the start, especially the little under-over I did after pressuring Mr. Adam Hughes, the speaker on the speaker on the radio for most of the time. So yeah, and then unfortunately Dylan got a penalty, and then something else happened. I don't know what happened to him, but unfortunately he didn't finish the race and probably would have been up there. But I was on the hunt to try and pick up the second from Joseph, and I just don't know what happened to him because he was doing consistent 18s. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to catch him. And all of a sudden, he just drops down to a 19 and a 21, and I immediately catch him up very, very quickly, and I don't know what happened to him, and he pits. So I might try and find him and ask him what happened because he's just kind of gone. But other than that, yeah, it was a great race. Good practice for me for our races with my new pedal, brake pedal changes, and yeah, looking forward to the next round at an oval.
Well, next week comes to us from Michigan. It's wide, it's fast, it's hairy, and it's going to be a drafting battle. What do you know of the drafting battles in these trucks?
That basically drafting's everything. I mean, I haven't actually ever driven Michigan in these cars because I only bought it for the series, but I have driven Auto Club in these cars, and damage, you get any damage, any wall touches, anything, you're basically out the game because you just got no speed. It's all about aero in these trucks because there's just not enough power compared to any of the other. So the Xfinity car is the most power in the NASCAR lineup, but doesn't have a lot of grip, and the Cup Series has both. So bottom car in terms of the things, but I reckon it'll be difficult. I'll need to do some practice because I haven't actually touched that track yet. But sometimes I might just wing it and see how I go. I'm not really in championship contention. I'm kind of just having fun in this series with what I know about the trucks. So a great thing that SRW put them on. Enjoyed it very much. So yeah, see how I go.
Talk to us about what the conversation is going to be like next week from Michigan, because as far as I understand it, your Pulse Racing teammate Grant Matterford's a little bit newer to ovals, and bump drafting, having a teammate, having a dance partner, so as they call it, is quite critical at some of these bigger tracks.
Yeah, look, I've been giving him tips as much as I can to try and help him out. He's doing really well actually for an oval newbie. So I'm really impressed with that, and I might try and get him on after we do AHU this weekend and see what I can do. But I'm definitely going to try and help him out because I reckon he's got some good potential because he's actually quite good. He's done some ovals in the past, but he hasn't done them in the present. But yeah, I'd say if I can try and help him out as much as possible, we'd be a good duo for next week.
Well, best of luck with all things considered for next week there at Michigan. So it'll be Capel's first time out at Michigan. Capel, take the floor and thank your sponsors. You better start off with Mark. Who's Mark?
Mark Capel is the owner of Computer Technology Corporations, a very good IT company that sponsors me a lot, and you should go follow them on their Facebook page, CTC Corp AU. I'd also like to thank Pulse Racing team as a whole, so obviously Grant coming in here doing the series with me. Obviously seems like he's very much enjoying it, so props to him for helping me out and getting me into the series, and thanks to all the sponsors that sponsor our team, so Century Batteries, Lismore, Australian Waterproofing Company, CM Security, and thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast. Enjoyed it, enjoyed the race. Probably good to watch it back again tomorrow and listen to Scott going on and on and on in his very loud tone as usual. So I'll see how that goes. I'll watch the broadcast, but yeah, thanks guys.
Okay, so we're 2 from 2 with the drivers we bring into the commentary box having a go at me. So can we make it 3 from 3 with Miles? So thank you, Lockie. Thanks for dropping by, mate, and we'll see you again next week, bro.
See you then next week, Scott.
Mate, you host a series for these guys, and all they want to do is give you shit.
You think they give you some respect, all right?
One guy that is worthy of a whole bunch of respect tonight is going to be Miles Burgess with a 25-second win and a show coming out of the last corner. Mr. Burgess, Adam, the boss, said he was quite happy with the result there tonight. How did you feel about it?
Oh, yeah, great. It was, great race for me. I don't think there wasn't a lot of big mistakes I made, so very happy with that. I feel like I saved my tyres a lot better at the start than the rest of the guys behind me. They were battling quite hard, so I was pretty happy with that.
When it comes to stock cars, rookie, veteran, somewhere in the middle?
More leaning towards the rookie, I'd say. Not a lot of experience in them, but definitely do enjoy them.
So when you come here tonight, a lot of practice, a lot of long hours that was really put in to really get this dialed in, because you had the handle on it. I mean, we can say comfortably.
Yeah, I did do a fair bit of practice for this one. I did a couple officials at this track. It was a few weeks ago, and that definitely paid off because it taught me about the tyre saving and then fuel saving as well, which definitely came very much in handy.
Well, mate, the one and only road course of the series, you'd kind of be ruling that a little bit. You kind of get the feeling you'd want another one of these to show up later on down the schedule. But now you're going to apply those skills to the big circuits. We go to the first of the big, wide, multi-groove racing circuits next week. Have you raced at Michigan before?
I've never raced at Michigan. We'll be definitely looking forward to it, learning something new. But definitely ruining not having any more road courses.
Well, I've got good news for you. It's draft battles. There's going to be packs holding together, but it's going to be all about saving its tyres. And if you looked after those things tonight, you should do quite well. Obviously, part of the Crisscross Racing team. Let's hear it in terms of the sponsor thank yous.
Yeah, I'd like a big thank you to Doom Designs, Jennifer Russell Real Estate, KYB, and Crisscross Racing themselves. Couldn't have done it without them.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's been Miles Burgess, your winner by nearly 25 seconds. In fact, it was 25 seconds until he decided to put on a display for us. And what a display it was coming out of the last corner. There's quite a few licorice straps between the last corner and the finish line.
A couple.
It wasn't just you. Adam had a go at it too, don't worry.
Yeah, we wanted more.
Well, Miles, we'll see you next week from another state of the Americas at Michigan, the first of the 1.5. My apologies. It's Phoenix next week. Michigan's the week after, so a short track next week. That might make you feel a little bit better.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. Thanks, guys.
All right, Miles, have a great night. Well, Nathan, that brings us to the end of the broadcast here this evening. I think Texas delivered. I think the Circuit of the Americas. I mean, when you've got a track designed by Herman Tilke, they tend to deliver.
Oh, mate, it 100% delivered. And not only did the track deliver, but all our drivers on track delivered tonight. So what a fantastic finish. What a fantastic race. Looking forward to next Monday, same time, same place, same channel. If you're not here,
can we say same sim time, same sim place?
Yeah, we could throw a bit of a Batman reference in there, you reckon?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So we'd like to give a huge shout out to everybody who joined us tonight and came along with the broadcast to watch all this exciting action happen. Joe Daly has dropped into the chat and said, need more circuits in Oval Series. Well, that might be something that we might have to push to the series admin.
I'm listening, Joe. I am listening.
The circus was great tonight. Thank you for DSL Welding Services for getting on board with us, as well as the promo department for all your promo needs, and Dragonrc. Tonight, your hosts have been Nathan Shibby Howard and Scotty Rankin, and we both thank you so much for joining us along this journey, and we can't wait to see you in the next broadcast.